All right, so this is the first inaugural ever StrenghCoachK Podcast. This is your host, Coach Kenny. And the only reason I want to start this podcast is to, number one, a lot of people have struggle getting started with things, and me, myself, and as a strength coach, I have had a lot of really good experiences talking with a lot of really good athletes and a lot of really good coaches, and I wanted a chance to start sharing that and share some cool stories so it can help other people along their journey. So this is going to start this very first show off today. I'm pretty excited about this one because I personally have always, growing up, wanted to be a professional Major League Baseball player. That was what I wanted to be. And the other reason I'm excited for this story is because this person in his offseason put on an incredible amount of muscle mass and got a lot stronger. I know that's something that a lot of guys really, really are looking to do. And so without further ado, my guest today is Brendon Davis. And Brendon, what's up, dude?
Nothing much, just out here spring training, grinding, getting my work in, and looking forward to the upcoming season.
Okay, awesome, man. Yeah. So just fill everybody in a little bit about who you are, your background, and things like that.
Well, I'm 20 years old. I'm from Lakewood, California, right around Long Beach, and I was drafted by the Los Angeles Dodgers 2015. Ended up getting traded last year to the Texas Rangers, and here I am now.
Okay, so you got drafted. Now tell me a little bit, what was that like? Because that was something I always wanted to do, was play Major League Ball. So was it something you always knew you wanted to do growing up being a kid, or you just got
Of
drafted
course.
like, oh, okay?
As growing up as a kid, I've been playing baseball since I was 5 years old, and I ended up playing, all the way up, high school ball, all that stuff, and it got down to the nitty-gritty, and ended up working really hard and working my way up into the ranks. Ended up getting drafted by the Dodgers hometown team. I mean, it couldn't have been better.
Heck yeah, man. I'm a huge Dodgers fan too. They're my hometown team. I wish they would have pulled it out last year against the Astros. I was really hoping. The last time they were they won the series, I had just been born. I was 1 year old, so everyone was really rooting for them. And me especially this particular year. Okay, awesome, man. So that's cool. You got drafted by the Dodgers. Before we really kind of get into it, one of the reasons I wanted to interview you, because every day you came to the gym, you just had a huge smile and a great attitude on your face, and not every athlete has that. So I'm just curious, do you have like a mantra or a quote or something motivational that fires you up every day?
Well, all my life, I was never the kid that was, just giving everything. I always had to work for what I wanted, and I think that helped me prepare me for this opportunity that I have now, because, every day I wake up, I try to go to the field, wherever I'm going, and just make it a good environment. So when I step in the weight room or the field, wherever I go, I just try to always keep a smile on my face and just, from a baseball standpoint, just help my teammates out. Sometimes the going gets tough, but we can't back down. We just got to stay focused, and putting a smile on everybody's face, it helps.
Mm-hmm. So you don't really have a quote or a saying or something. You're just like, I'm just going to put a smile on, and we get to play baseball today.
Yeah, I don't have a big quote, but what I am and how I act as a person, I really value that. So whatever's going on in the sports life or whatever, if somebody's doing great or if they're doing bad, that's good. But at the same time, how can I show up and be a great person every day? I think that goes further in life. You can't play baseball forever. So, how are people going to remember you, when baseball's over is my big thing. And, quote-wise, my favorite quote that I heard, and it comes from Russell Westbrook, who he wasn't always the guy that was the top dog. I mean, he was at UCLA, sometimes coming off the bench, and now this guy, worked his way to be an MVP, and he always says, why not? And that's a big quote that I use in my training, because I get the training, and it's like, all right, if I put all this work in, why not? Why can I not do something? I should be able to do everything. There's no limits. I want to have no limits to my game and to everything that I do. So,
man, that's some really, really powerful stuff there, man. That's awesome. Some of the things you said there, like, man, just that resonate with me. Just, hey, I don't want to, can't play baseball forever. Just focus on being the best person
exactly.
that I can be, and hopefully that brings everybody up around me, and we all kind of take each other to that next level. Man,
Exactly.
some super, super good stuff there, man. Hopefully, I think that's what's getting you up to that next level. Now,
I mean, that's it. At at the level I'm at, a lot of it is not talent. All the guys that I'm playing with right now have a lot of talent. All the guys that I'm playing with right now were all-stars in high school, all-stars in college. Like, it comes down to, a separation factor. You have to separate yourself, and a lot of the times it's not even on the field. So, I mean, that's a big part of it.
Yeah. Sounds like you've really worked a lot on, kind of the mindset you have here. Now, is this mindset piece, is this something that you've always been really good at, or did you ever struggle with this? Is it something that you had to work on?
I think I definitely, struggled at times. It definitely, came along with maturing. At 17 years old, I was drafted. I was on my own. I didn't have my mommy and daddy come in and taking my stuff to the field. If I forgot something, I had to own up to it. I couldn't call my mom and say, "Hey, Mom, I was all the way across the country." So I think being with a couple of roommates, I was grateful enough to have some older roommates who had been through, college and stuff to kind of help me out, and it made me mature really fast. And I think that's where my mindset came from.
Okay. Yeah, it's good. And I know baseball is one of those sports where it's tough because there's, you're successful 3 out of 10 times, and that's considered a really good ball player. But that's failing 7 times out of 10. So sometimes, a lot of baseball players, their mindset can do a lot of damage to them. It doesn't seem like that's affected you.
It's a huge part of the game, and I'm still working on that. Luckily, we have coaches here in that specific field to kind of help us out, because mentally in the backside of the season, August, September, October, if you're lucky enough, it becomes a mental struggle, and you got to be able to work through it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm curious. What are some of these things that these coaches are helping you with? Are there any tips that you can give to us to kind of help change our mindset a little bit? Because in baseball, man, you can get a bad call and right away that could throw you off. Like, do you have any special things that you use to help you, forget about what just happened, or any tips, I guess, that you got from your coaches? That would be.
Well, for me, one of the biggest things is just confidence. You can't do anything without confidence, whether it's at the plate, lifting weights, anything. If you have the confidence and you can tell yourself in your mind that you can do it, a lot better things can happen from that. If you're negative on yourself and the confidence isn't there, you'll just get buried. And I think that's one of the biggest things, and that's something that I've had to learn.
Yeah, man, you hit it on the head. I tell this to people all the time. Confidence. If you don't believe you can lift this weight, don't even try. Like,
exactly.
You got to believe it in your mind first. And confidence is really, I think you said it best, the only thing that people need to really help them get to the next level. That's awesome. That was well put, sir. Awesome. So just give people a little more backstory on, or I guess, you want to get to an elite level. You're a professional athlete. What are some of the steps you've taken? It sounds like you've worked on your mindset, but in terms of like physical things that you needed to do, where did you go to? Where did you turn for that aspect of the game?
Well, physically growing up, skinny kid, my parents, not very, very big. So the way my body worked, it was really hard to gain weight for me. But once I, got all the people on my side, trainers, nutritionists, once I got all them on my side and just soaked in all the knowledge that they gave me, that played a big factor in growing and, just coming into my body. I remember my first year I signed and I was 156 pounds. And coming from high school, we never weighed in. We never got on the scale. It was just the best player out there. And once I got to professional baseball, you got grown men out there who are 200, 220, and that's when I realized, I need to get, I need to gain weight in order to hit balls harder and even just to withstand a full season. So that was a big part of it, and I put my mind to it. I made sure I soaked in all the knowledge in recovery, eating the right foods, not just eating anything. A lot of things went into it, and I've gained almost 40 pounds since then, and just still going from there.
Wow, 40 pounds. So you're right up around that 200-pound mark now, then, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, all right. So I'm curious, what because, you know, a lot of baseball players have this mindset of I need to keep playing more baseball. You know, kind of like you did in high school, you just relied on being the best player out in the game. What finally, you know, switched in your mind that you decided, like, hey, if this is something I'm going to do, I need to get a coach?
Well, that just came from my parents. I have to admit I'm a pretty stubborn person, and that just comes from the confidence that I have. And to be honest, it was hard for me to really reach out and say, look, I need help. That was hard for me. I felt like I knew everything. I still worked hard, but I felt like, you know, being the stubborn person that I am, sometimes it was just like, nah, you know, I can do it on my own, or, you know, I can be good just doing it by myself. And I talked to my parents, and we sat down, and finally, you know, it seemed like the best thing for me was to get somebody to push me a little bit further and help me out, and people that have more knowledge in that specific area could benefit me. And I mean, that's all where it came from.
Man, that's huge, and that's super humbling, because everybody needs help regardless of who we are. And I think a lot of baseball players like that. Oh, I'm just fine on you. I'll get the next one or whatever. I've done it the whole way the whole time. But, you know, being able to look and say, you know what, I actually need help is super, super rare in an outfit. But those that do, and finally, you know, make that investment in, you know, hiring a coach for this, that, or the other thing, they end up getting so much more value because the coach sees things that you can't see, right? And you know, you said you're stubborn. Everybody's stubborn about what we want to do. We want to do the things that we like to do.
Exactly.
If it would have been up to you, you would have probably I'm going to go just keep hitting balls all day because that's what I'm good at. But no, you needed to put on 40 pounds so you could play with the big dogs and get to the next level.
Exactly. And, I mean, I think a lot of guys in sports especially, I mean, we go out, guys, you know, go to the mall and spend all these money on clothes. Go to the car dealership, spend all these money on cars, all this other stuff. But, like, what are you investing in yourself? And for me, I knew I had to gain weight, so I'm going to go invest in somebody who can help me do that instead of, you know, going to the mall and buying 16 pairs of shoes. Like, man, that was a big step for me.
That's huge, man. And even for me, too, I'm a coach. So how can I expect someone that I coach to come in and spend X amount of dollars and come in and do this work if I'm not doing the exact same thing to someone else? I have to go. I have to keep learning and growing so that I can keep adding more value to myself and to the people that I work with. And all of that ends up coming back to me and making me a better person. Kind of like going back to what you said earlier. Just work on being the best human you can. And sometimes you need to go find people that are, man, these people are really awesome. I like what they're doing. It's tough to make that investment. You're right. People will just go out and buy shoes, but yet when it comes to investing a little bit in their health and well-being and advancing their health and well-being, they're like, no, that's not for me.
Right.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna go buy some more shoes and look good.
What good is that doing? Those shoes are gonna be old.
Those shoes are so. You know me. You know me on shoes. Anyway, so you were $160. You're about 200 pounds now. How had you gone about trying to? What was the first thing you tried when it came to gaining weight? What strategies did you try? What worked? What didn't work? And, you know, how did you finally successfully do that?
I think, you know, the first thing I did was what a lot of people do. They go to the gym and they do all the stuff they see on TV, or, you know, the popular lifts that they see people doing, you know, on all these videos and stuff like that. And they don't take the recovery part into, you know, perspective, or the eating part and all this stuff. So if you're just throwing yourself in the gym and you haven't even ate yet, like, you're not, you know, doing yourself any good, or you don't eat after, or you're not taking in the right amount of protein, the right amount of carbs and stuff like that, or you're only sleeping 2 hours a night. Like, it's a bunch of little things that come together and create one big thing. And I think that what a lot of us do is we just go and we look for that one thing, the thing that we see, the thing that's most popular, and we don't look into the little things, and the little things is what's really doing the job and what's really, you know, bringing out the big picture.
Man, absolutely. And I think you even said it before that, recovery. People don't realize that, hey, when you're trying to get bigger, everyone thinks if I put in a lot of work, if I just lift a lot of weight, I'm just going to naturally get bigger. And, you know, it's true, you will, but a lot of times, too, you're almost stressing your body out so much that, you know, when your body's in a state of stress, it's not going to grow. I mean, obviously you need to stress it, but when we overstress it by doing too much, your body's not going to actually end up holding on to mass. It's going to be stressed. It's not going to sleep. sleep is the most important thing I tell people for either losing weight or for putting on more muscle mass. You've got to be able to sleep.
Huge.
If you're not recovering properly, it probably means you're not sleeping properly. So, like you said, what are the little things that you can do to help aid sleep, aid recovery, so that you can keep training? And then I know one of the big things that you and I talked about when we were helping you with this is sometimes, man, it's hard to eat that much.
Right. Yeah, you're telling me, man.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, I got to eat what? Like, I had these 3 protein shakes, and I still got, another one later tonight, and I got these 2 sandwiches. And it's like, man, I don't want to eat anymore.
Right.
And I think people don't realize, like, how much effort it actually takes to put on mass.
Right.
So what did you try in the past that didn't work, and why do you think you were so successful this time around?
Well, like I said in the past, it was just, gym. A lot of people stay up all night playing the video games. Then the next day, their session is just 50%. And one thing that I tried to do this year was, and I think I did a pretty good job of it, was every time I got in the weight room, I wanted to at least be 95%. And the only way you can do that is to recover. And that comes with eating and getting your protein, carbs, and vegetables in to restore the body to get those muscles, built back up. So I think I did a really good job of that. I made sure I worked out hard. Right after, hit the recovery hard, got the food in my system, not waiting 3 hours to eat, get it right in, get the protein in, and wake up the next day and make sure, even some days I was feeling 100% the next day. And the difference between getting a workout in at 100% and 75% is a huge difference in building that.
Absolutely.
So I think that was just the biggest part, was making sure that I can come in and be 90 to 100% every single day. And that was stuff that I can control. I can control that. My body controls a lot, but at the same time, I know there was things that I can do to control, how my body's gonna, feel the next day. And I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. People need to learn how their body adapts to it and responds to stimulus, and what they can do to kind of help that process along. So you mentioned, really helping with, your recovery. I mean, what are some of the things that some people don't know what, recovery, they mean like, I just rested and, iced my muscles. What are you talking about when you mean like helping your body recover faster?
Well, I mean, it comes down to everything. The food. One big thing for me that I learned this year was the stretching part. I remember in the past years I work out and, I feel so swole and I feel good, but my muscles are so tight, and then the next day I get in and I can't even lift my arms up. How am I going to be able to be at 100% and work out at 100% if I can't even lift my arms up over my shoulders, or I can't even touch my toes? Like, I need to have that flexibility to get down and, make sure my muscles are nice and loose and just ready to act the way they should.
Yeah, you got to do that on a day in and day out basis for a long time, and on and off of planes, buses, trains, automobiles, late nights. So
the icing part is huge. Making sure those muscles get back. Normatec, just flushing that system, whether it's upper body, lower body, whatever I was feeling, I just try to get that in every day.
All right, yeah. Recovery, especially, like I said, for an athlete like you that's playing all the time, you have to learn how to take care of your body, and especially if you want to play for many years, which most ball players want to make, a certain amount, and then, hey, I'm great, I had fun, I don't want to be limited or hampered by injuries.
Right.
So that's good that you've taken that mindset at such a good young age, that you've done now. Well, cool, man. So I knew you when we were talking about, getting stronger and building mass. What are some of the exercises you did? We haven't really talked about any exercises. What do you think, some of the biggest changes you've made exercise-wise to help increase your muscle mass?
Well, I think this year I went into a lot of new exercises for me. For the past couple of years, it's just been the standard, squat, deadlift, bench press, and those are really good exercises, but you also need to know how to counter those exercises. And I think that was a big thing for me was, getting those in, but at the same time, getting that muscle that's allowing me to be able to do that. I mean, that's not necessarily my field, but I had people educated enough to let me know what I needed to do to counter those exercises, those big exercises, working the big parts of the body. And I think you guys did a great job doing that.
Yeah, man. We definitely had some fun. I know I wasn't too much involved with your program. That was the master, the wizard himself, Coach Johan. I know Angelina had you dialed in on nutrition, but I think I was just there to kind of teach you how to lift heavy things and how to do them a little bit better, and then tell you to put more weight on the bar. And
exactly.
So all of a sudden, I think the best thing I think you said all day is confidence. And I definitely saw. You said you weren't comfortable with some of these lifts that you'd done before, and then a couple weeks in, after I gave you a little switches, man, your confidence just took off. You're like, oh, that's how you do this. This is how I feel strong. Let's go.
Lift this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was that, and then you just kept putting on weight week after week. And so sometimes, man, as in baseball, you just get on a roll and everything's working, and then that pumps you up to just work even harder because you're like, man, I'm doing everything right, and things are going my way. And it for you, I think that was kind of the story of your off season, at least in my mind.
Yeah, and I put that mindset into my lifts, and that's what helped me out.
Mm-hmm. So before this off season, had you kind of planned out what you were going to be doing? Did you have any did you sit down and say, hey, here are my goals for this off season, or here's my goals for next year? Like, I'm looking ahead a year at my year. What would be the best outcome for me to have? Do you do any exercises like that, or are you just kind of like, I'm going to feel it out?
I definitely did that. I sat down and, I said, what can I do to make me the best player I can possibly be next year? And sitting down and just thinking about all the things, and I told myself, I said, look, I need to get help. And that's what I did, and so far it's benefited me tremendously, and I think it will continue to benefit me.
Yeah, that's huge, man. Number one is like, I know where I want to go. I need help, kind of somebody show me what I need to be doing that I'm not thinking about to get there. And everybody's like that. They kind of know, they have this picture of their mind of what they want to be and who that is, but they just need help, like with the mechanics of how to get there. And even guys at your level, that's what they need. That's why they hire coaches, and that's why they're expensive, because guess what? They're worth it. They're going to help get you to that next level. And that's what it always blows my mind. People are like, oh my gosh, coaching it's so expensive. Like, you're investing in someone else helping you. You should get all of that money back, and that return on investment is huge because you're investing this in yourself. So it's good that you kind of understand that. So I had an awesome time working with you the past, 4 or 5 months in the
about
season.
4 or 5 months.
Yeah, man, it was awesome to watch, and you had really, really great success. It sounds like the biggest thing that it came down to is just your mindset and confidence, and then just really trusting in the process, which is awesome. And I think you're really set up for a really, really great spring training. Now, perfect world. Let's fast forward to a year from now, and you're just heading into spring training. What would be ideal for you to have happened over the next 12 months that you're just like, man, I earned every part of that. That was so great. What does that look like for you?
Just hopefully stay healthy, have a great year, and come back next year with the same mentality, and look forward to, an even better year than next year. There's still room for improvement. I made a lot of big improvements this year, but there's still a lot more room to improve. And I think, you have to keep improving. Like, you should never hit a point where you're like, all right, this is my best. There should always be more in the tank, more. All right, what's next? What's next after this? I just accomplished this. What's next? And even when your career comes to an end, like I said, you can't play forever, but even when you retire, all right, what's next after this? So I always think there's room to improve and to just do bigger and better things.
Oh, man, that's awesome. I was going to ask you, like, what's something, you can say to someone who's, struggling with all this stuff, and I think that's it right there. Just keep looking for improvements. Like, never settle for anything that's not your best. And you can be okay with your best, but always be striving to try and get a little better.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Cool, man. I don't really have any more questions for you. I think you really crushed a lot of really, really great points on, recovery and confidence and mindset and, investing in yourself and getting a coach. Those are all things that man, I wish really people would just really know that if you want to get to the next level, like someone like you does, in Major League Baseball, you really have to go into those things.
Right.
But are there any other questions you think I didn't ask you wish that I would have asked?
Ah, man, I can't think off the top of my head, but I think that was a pretty good, dosage of information.
Yeah, man, I think you definitely might have a career in coaching when you're done to help get people fired up.
Hey, you never know.
Speaking of, last thing I want to do in order to get people fired up. I want you to say you played for 10, 20 years and you have all of the money in the world, and you want to what you want to do is you want to just put this one message that carried you all the way through to all of this great success up on a billboard in Times Square that's going to be there forever. What would that message that you would be to tell everybody of Times Square and the world? What would that message be?
I think my message would be, let me think. I think just don't end your career in whatever you do. Don't end your career thinking I could have did more. Put it all out on the table, everything you've got. If it's something that you love to do, if it's something that you're passionate about, leave it all out there. Everything you've got, just put it all in. You don't want to leave and say, dang, I could have did this or I could have did that. I think I had more. I could have worked harder. Just know by the end of the career, I did everything that I possibly could to be the best person, player, anything, whatever you're doing, just make sure you can tell yourself, I did my best, trying to be the best person I could possibly be or the best athlete I could possibly be. And that's all I can say.
Man, that is absolutely beautiful. For my first podcast ever, I don't think I could have had anyone come on and say more perfect words like that, because that's totally how I believe, man. Every day you live your life, do your best, leave it all out there, and the cards are going to fall. The cards are going to fall.
Exactly.
Awesome. Brendon, dude, thanks so much for giving me some of your time. I know you probably need to get to bed. You got curfew for spring training and all that. But dude, I'm so super pumped for you and all you accomplished, and I wish the best for you this year, and we're all cheering for you, bud.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it to have me.
All right, thanks, buddy.
All right.
Talk soon.
Talk to you.